Hey everyone, I want to talk about this idea of a service desk BIM manager. It came up because conversations I've had with friends and people in the industry at conferences, and there was this interesting conversation at last year's AU, Autodesk University conference, and a number of experienced BIM managers were talking about how they were hired at a firm to do really cool BIM stuff. They discussed that in their interviews, and when they get to the company and start working, they are doing just help desk related things. They're troubleshooting Revit issues, helping people with visibility problems, and just general like Revit technical stuff, and not the broader BIM efforts, managing data, meeting certain data deliverables or standards, innovating on BIM, strategic implementation of BIM and other tools, other design tech tools. There's a lot of stuff, and I'll expand on some of that some more later. But I wanted to talk about specifically the service desk like type of approach, and this would be stuff like focused specifically on just Revit troubleshooting, Revit issues, which is certainly an aspect of any job where you're in a technical role. These tools have been around for some time, and the experts in these tools shouldn't just be the BIM manager. We should have experts in every discipline. And the way that I try to approach BIM at my firm is that this isn't in one individual or a group of people with BIM in their title. It is the entire project's responsibility to understand what BIM is, understand the tools we use within that environment, which in our case is Revit, and then being able to use those tools to deliver BIM projects. And that's everybody's responsibility, and everybody plays a role in that, from the project manager to the senior engineer to the designer to the D1, E1s to the project admin. Everybody has a different role to play, and it isn't just the one individual or, a BIM lead. A BIM person is the only one that reviews a BEP. A BEP is a planning document. Everybody should know what that document means. They should have input on that document, and the project manager should be accountable for meeting those expectations on a project that requires a BEP. So I wanted to use Canva here, maybe just throw some stuff on here. I don't really have anything mapped out or prepared. I figured I would just share some of my thoughts, and I would love to hear your perspective on this. If you disagree with anything, have you experienced this situation where you're brought in under this idea that you're going to do really cool things, and then you just end up helping people fix their Revit issues or, replace that with any other design tool? I think a big thing is most BIM managers have a lot of experience and skills. Some have strong coding skills. Some have strong leadership skills, and they know how to implement technology. They know how to develop strategies. Some are very good managers and can manage a team effectively. And if all you're doing all day is just going through a ticket system and knocking out Revit support issues, I feel like those skills are going to be underutilized. There's going to be opportunities to leverage them, but when your main job is Revit help, then you may not get a whole lot of chances to really leverage those skills. So you might be underutilized in that kind of situation. I think there's also a misalignment with BIM potential. So there's a lot of amazing things we can do with BIM. There's amazing things we can do with Revit. And if we are only focused on fixing issues, then we can't take advantage of some of the broader BIM capabilities, leveraging strong collaboration between partners, addressing some of the interoperability issues between different softwares. All right, so I think that kind of represents misalignment, kind of. I think innovation is affected quite a bit because you're just not going to have the opportunities to develop innovative approaches and address some of the bigger issues, right? There's the issue of constantly using Excel and Revit. And how do we get from that into using native schedules and building the data into our families? That might be a really big effort if we don't have the infrastructure in place already to support that. I think there's going to be a lot of inefficiencies and delays on projects. You're not going to be taking advantage of BIM. Your focus isn't expanding people's capabilities with BIM and addressing, the big needs on the projects internally and externally for clients. These are two really big ones for me, and I think they're important. Dissatisfaction in your career, career stagnation. And that's a really big one for me because BIM and everything that is involved in it is huge. There's a lot of opportunities to grow. There's going to be a lot of companies that take advantage of that. And if you're positioned where you can't develop those skills, then you're going to have career stagnation. It's going to be harder for you to find opportunities internally and externally because you're not going to have the skill set there. And if you have this skill and you're not using it, eventually you're going to lose it, or you'll just stay where you're at and you can't build on that. Anyways, this is some of the big issues in here, some of the things I heard at Autodesk University and some conversations I've had with friends. And then I just want to jump over here to BIM Manager and talk about that as well. So, like I mentioned, implementation. So there's like strategic implementation, which is a skill in itself. Thinking about how to implement a brand new tool. It could be a very small change in process. It could be a pretty dramatic one. And the bigger the change is, the more strategy, the more thought needs to go into it for it to be successful. CAD to Revit is a huge transition. You're going from digital version of hand drafting to a BIM modeling tool that has data. You can look at things from different perspectives and you'll be looking at the same information. There's automation that can be tied into it, generative design, calculating systems automatically, performance analysis. There's a lot of different pieces to that, and so that's a huge change. And so strategic implementation plays a big role in that. And again, if you're just picking up help desk tickets, how do you develop that skill or leverage that skill to really drive change within your firm and the industry? Kind of related to implementation is like training. So teaching people. I think that's really huge. But along with teaching people, I think really intentionally trying to multiply yourself, really develop people, identify those power users and develop them to a place where they can start helping to drive innovation and adoption of new processes. Like I mentioned earlier, BIM is everybody's responsibility. And as a BIM manager, you can help develop those power users within those different disciplines so that they can drive that forward. And then you can collaborate with them at a higher level and really think about how do we evolve electrical design. Because as a BIM manager, especially at a multidisciplinary firm, you can't be an expert in all disciplines. But by working with people that are experts in those disciplines and have the BIM skills, we can collaborate together and come up with new solutions, new ways of doing things, and continuing to evolve kind of what we do and how we deliver projects and how we work together. This one's a big one because I think the more, and I think this kind of depends on the part of the industry you're in and who you work with, but the next one is technology integration. So merging tools like VR, AR, there's AI coming up. So there's a lot of different tools that are coming up right now. Some of them, may not have AI, but are claiming to have AI. There's some really interesting stuff Some of it's not practical. Some could be practical. So how do you integrate that into your firm, into your process? How do you train people to do that? BIM was supposed to address this pain point, which was coordination, collaboration between disciplines. So in my position, as an example, I work at an MEP firm, and we're always looking for opportunities to better collaborate with our clients, which is usually the architect. Sometimes it's the owner. And, can we collaborate with the tools we have? Can we leverage ACC? Are there services that we can use together? Are there things in my process that I can change so that we can work better together? You need to have time to have those conversations and to be able to be proactive and reach out to folks, talk to the clients, hear their pain points, see how we can collaborate better. Another one is compliance. So now with more and more data deliverables, there's IFC, COBE, digital twins. If you have to meet those types of deliverables on your project, what does that mean? What do we have to change? Do people have to learn new skills? Do we have to hire specialists to help support those types of deliverables? And the last thing I've got is innovation leadership and really helping push new technologies, advancing technologies, implementing it, which I mentioned before. All of this plays a role, I think, in innovation. And as a BIM manager, I think you should have time to innovate, to think about new ways of working. And a big part of that is also through collaboration with people. This isn't everything that makes up a BIM manager. There is so much more. A lot of this is based off of my own experience working at my firm now. And if you are looking for a job, we're actually hiring a BIM Tech 3. So definitely reach out if that's something you're interested in, because we're always looking for people that have these types of skills. And we really try to support BIM and are really making it a part of the company. This is all I really got. I just wanted to put this together, share kind of my thoughts on this, because it was a big topic at AU. And I think it's important to discuss this, to share this information, to teach each other, so that we can start to address this pain point. That way we can start to really solve more of the industry problems than just helping people fix visibility issues in Revit. But anyways, that's all I've got today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.